Here's Matt in Phoenix. We head back to the phones at Open Line Friday. Hi.
Hi, Rush. Dittos. I've been
Thank you, sir.
listening since '93, so quite a while now. Just want to say, just real quick, I know you don't like all the compliments, but excellent talk show host. I can see your professionalism, and I really appreciate it. If on a scale of 1 to 10, radio talk show host, you'd be the 10. Everybody else scores about a 4.
Well, I really appreciate that. But more than anything, let me tell you what I do not take for granted. You've been here since 1993. That is a long time, and I really appreciate that. You cannot know what
it in. I'm getting older. Yeah. So,
but you've stayed here as you've gotten. That's the great thing. It's an amazing thing to me, and I don't take it for granted. Is my point. I really appreciate that. You're welcome. It's you put on a great show, and but here's the thing: is we're not going to agree on this issue I'm going to talk about, and actually my views have changed over the years, but I won't get into that. I used to be very, very conservative, and just recently I've become kind of on the other side. But anyway, the point of my call is to say that the CNN town hall thing and all the anger and vitriol that's coming from the anti-NRA, anti-gun lobby, I think is a valid part of the argument. Meaning, this is outrageous what happened to these kids. And it's outrageous that it keeps on happening. In October, we had the Vegas shooter, shot 800 some odd people. We've got, the Texas shooting where he killed all those people in the church. And then every year there's 3 or 4, and they're horrible. People are getting tired of this, and they're looking for a solution. Now, armed guards in the schools, that's a good temporary solution. But do we want to live in a society where the solution to gun violence is more guns? Because that's just going to add. I mean, do we want to live in the Wild West where everybody's got to be packing heat all the time? I'm so glad that you called him. Can you hang on through the break?
Oh, absolutely,
Because I addressed this in some detail last week, and I'm going to run by you everything I said in case you probably missed it, because I dealt with every question that you have just asked, and in my humble estimation, blew it to smithereens. But we'll run through it again, because you're asking what a lot of people think are very sensible questions. I don't think they are, but a lot of people do, and so we will address them. If you hang on, we'll be right back. Don't go away. And we are back, and we have with us Matt in Phoenix, a listener since 1993, began as a conservative, and the program's turned him into a leftist on certain issues. You're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm listening. And great bumper music. That's one of the things that I always loved about your show. Bumper music's great. But
the bumper music. Well, we'll take whatever. Again, I just want to restate. By the way, Matt, look, one thing, Matt, because of the phone circuit, you and I cannot hear each other when we're talking at the same time. It's not your fault. We have a phone system that if you're on cell, it's like you're on a speaker, and when you're talking, your own speaker's blocked out. You can't hear reaction. So take a pause now and then. Nobody's going to shortchange you on time, okay? Nobody gets hung up on this. Nobody gets hung up on this program. Well, I mean, not usually. It doesn't happen.
Well, I'll try not to be one of those that gets hung up on. But even if that were to happen, it's been I'm actually tickled to death that I'm talking to you. I can't believe this is happening.
Right.
But,
yes, okay. So Matt is calling to tell me how he wants to explain the CNN rally that he thinks was justified, and he wants to explain to me why it was. I think it was garbage. I think it was a disgrace. I think it was an example of what happens when people are indoctrinated and propagandized. And the anger on that show last night or whenever it was totally worthless and misplaced. You said people are angry. That was unjustified. They're angry. People had nothing to do with anything that happened in that high school.
Well, hey, if you look at it from the point of view of, if you think that part of the problem with all the gun violence that we've had in this country, from a leftist perspective, is just the sheer number of guns out there, right? And so it's going to be unavoidable for the crazies to be able to get a hold of one. And I have this isn't exactly towards the CNN thing, but it's related in the sense of the anger that's out there, the outrage that these kind of shootings and these senseless murder keeps going on again and again and again and again. And
right. Let me address that.
I think there is American people out there, they're sick. They're sick of it.
Understandably, everybody is. I'll tell you what I'm sick about is we don't do anything to stop it. We haven't done a single thing to stop it, and there's not one idea that has come from any Democrat that will stop it. That's what makes me mad. Let's go through some of the questions you asked. You said, do we really want to live in a society where a solution to a problem is more guns in schools? And then you talked about how all these other school shootings and nothing has changed. And bingo. Do you think maybe, Matt, that it's time to realize this is our society? This is our culture. We don't have the luxury of saying, gee, I hope our culture doesn't become this, because it is. Starting with Columbine, there hasn't been one thing done to change this. Not a single thing. And there will not be, if you start banning certain guns, you're still not changing anything.
Well, the thing is,
we have guns when you get on an airplane. We have guns when you go to a sporting event. We have guns. We have metal detectors. We have armed security at every public entity except schools. Why? Because bad guys have shown themselves to take action in these places. And we stopped the 9/11s. We have stopped airplane hijackings. We have armed air marshals. Nobody knows who they are, but they're on many flights. There is a deterrent factor. We have left schools wide open, and everybody knows that there's not a single deterrent in these schools. And every incident that happens, we get the same worthless whining, complaining about the NRA or assault weapons or semi-automatic weapons, and they don't have a single thing to do with this. There are 300 million guns in America, and you're not going to get rid of all of them. And the crazies you think the crazies, the way to stop them is to keep them from getting guns? Well, let's stop the illegals from crossing the border. We don't seem to want to do that. Let's stop abortions. We can't stop these things. We have to deal with them and come up with solutions as they exist, not sit here and wish they weren't happening.
Well, yeah, but that's the point is, this is a society that we're living in where there's guns everywhere. There's gun violence everywhere. We've got mass murders happening. As Americans, because the founding fathers were progressives, they fought against injustice and things that were wrong in their time. Now it's our turn to be the founders, to go and solve this problem. And if that means no more guns, then so be it. If we have to worry about, where's the next hero cop that's going to come save me at the school, this coward that didn't go and do the kids, are we expecting to hire heroes? We got to hire heroes every time instead of changing society for the better. Now, I agree that, armed guards in schools now would be a good thing because we've got so many guns out there. But long term, do we need all these guns? I mean, really, the AR-15 is a platform for a military-style
It's not.
weapon.
That is avoiding the reality. To say, do we need all these guns? Do we need all these people on welfare? Do we need all these illegal immigrants? Whether we do or not, we've got it. Founding fathers were not progressive. The founding fathers were the epitome of modern-day conservatism. The founding fathers wrote and included the Second Amendment. I wish they had done a less ambiguous job of writing the darn thing, because it's open to interpretation by any wacko that comes down from law school. But we're not dealing with the reality of what's going on in schools. We're dealing with the reality that happens in airplanes. We're dealing with the reality that happens in so many other areas where there is wanton crime. But in the schools, we're not doing a thing. And I'm going to tell you something, Matt. I think the American left likes the opportunity to advance their agenda presented by these episodes. They don't like the killing. They don't like any of that. But the opportunity to once again scream at the NRA. NRA, nothing to do with this. Donald Trump and the Republican Party had nothing to do with this. And yet, the CNN so-called rally was nothing more than an anti-Trump, anti-GOP, anti-NRA rally. It had nothing to do with solutions. At best, it was televised therapy. At best, it was televised catharsis. But it had nothing to do with dealing with this problem realistically, and it had nothing to do with any solutions that are workable.